Hello and welcome to TVGuestpert's broadcast podcast. My name is Ariana Tejero. This is the show where we talk to industry creatives, innovators, entrepreneurs, and they share their experience in Hollywood and perhaps some of that you can take for your own career. With us today is the esteemed Juliet Clark, and Juliet runs Super Brand Publishing, and she decided to have a career change because in her view, in her experience, she realized that there was a loophole in the publishing model, and she experienced this when she went to publish her first book. Do you want to tell us about that experience?
Yeah, so I actually came from traditional publishing many years before. So I self-published because I thought, I've got this down. I know what I'm doing. And what I found was a model that really didn't help authors. It was more about their business and what they could charge for. And the big thing was that here I was paying to have my book published, and on the back end, they were taking part of my royalties. So that was shocking to me.
And since 2009, you've helped more than 600 authors in what you call a long-term process. What does that model look like?
So we haven't published all those books, but we have helped authors build what we call an author platform. And that is really the place where you build your audience, and it is a long-term strategy. Most people wait until the book is done, and then they start saying, oh my gosh, how am I going to market this? But if you have been building this audience as you go along using your expertise and creating really great content, you already have an audience for the book.
And this is a quote from you that I really like. It says, the book isn't the main event. The book is a marketing tool. Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so when people come into a self-publishing or a hybrid publishing experience, they spend money and they think that the book is going to be that big thing as part of it. But it is just a nurture tool. For most entrepreneurs, it's people know their face first, and then you're using that book as a nurture tool to lead them to bigger products and services. So, it used to be on the internet, we could click and buy, a $2,000, $5,000 product. That doesn't happen anymore. The trust is gone. So even getting someone to buy that $20, $30 book as a nurture tool can be challenging, but it is that step in between to leading them to those bigger high ticket products and services.
You mentioned trust just then, which I think is a very important point, that like in many industries, people have kind of lost faith in the system. So you're basically describing a very different plan, a very different approach to publishing, more of a long-term investment. So what happens? Do you ever have this experience where clients get impatient? What's the advice you give them in that case?
Go back to the basics, and you really have to start back with, is that book brand in alignment with your brand? And then have you created content? We call this the 8 pillars of author platform building. Have you been putting great content out on the internet that allows people to see your value and get great tips from you and understand who you are and what you do? And then are you doing that, building that following? Are you using the content for social media? Are you using it for an email list? Are you using it to meet power partners? Are you engaging in media? Because all of that, every single piece, you can't pick and choose. All of it works together when you launch a book. So instead of saying, okay, I've got this $10,000 budget and my book is done and now I'm going to go pay for ads or whatever it is, you have built an organic audience along the way of fans who are not only following you, but they're telling your friends about it too. Hey, my friend Ari has this fabulous book and it's coming out next week, and I follow her and I love her and I think you would too. And that's really how the word spreads.
Can you go through more in detail just a couple of those 8 pillars you mentioned?
Yeah, so one of them, and I'm going to reference TVGuestpert here, when our clients purchase from TVGuestpert, the book is rarely ready. So I'll give you an example. This summer, we had a feminism book. Well, the person that was out promoting that, the author, wasn't out talking about her book all the time. She had an expertise. Jackie had her talking about Roe v. Wade out, as an expert on this topic. I believe there was something that came through from Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. So just getting your face out there where it's recognizable and, being the upcoming author of your book. It doesn't have to be out already, but you're priming an audience who might be, a woman standing there making dinner and going, this sounds interesting. I'm going to write it down. It's coming out in July and, sticking it on the board and buying it.
I know each client and each case is obviously so different, but what would you say is the average timeline for this for a client?
Oh gosh, at least a year. And if you're going to do it really well, maybe 2 years, but you definitely should have an established expert business before you write that book, versus those people who think that the book is a business card and I'll build my business off of it, because that's really doing it backwards. You have to build that trust first. And the book doesn't do that. The book is a nurture tool once you've built that trust.
I think you make a good point there too. There's another expert who will be on the show later on, and she talks about, this is about hosting, but I think it still applies, that people nowadays, the system is very different. It's like you can't just be good at hosting or good at writing. It's like you have to be an expert, and you also have to be good at a different medium, which is kind of what you described there, because credence is very important. It's what people look for nowadays, especially with so much saturation of the market, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What's something personally that's changed for you, obviously doing this so long? Like, how has your career evolved and now giving back, paying forward to other people?
My career has evolved in the sense that I really embrace helping people. I think first I started out because I saw a problem and I was a little bit of a rebel, and I may have come off as sort of this angry self-publisher. But over time, as more and more people bought into our process, I really found that I enjoy helping people so much. And to the point now where we're actually considering a traditional publishing wing of the company, where people, we can get even a bigger, broader cross-section of publishing into our house.
What's one line you would tell yourself back in, let's say, 2008, when you had or were experiencing a moment like, oh, shoot, is this the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Is this a huge mistake? What would you tell yourself in retrospect?
Go for it. Follow your passion. Because back then I was a high-end real estate agent, and I was making a very, very good living. And so this was a big risk for me to say, oh my gosh, I see this problem and I need to fix it. So, there was a lot of fear back then about, oh my gosh, am I ever going to make up this income? But I was passionate about it, and just, go with your gut and follow your passion. It'll work.
I guess that's part of it nowadays too, that it is usually risky when you want to pursue something about which you're passionate. Usually there's a financial risk. So I think it's important to hear from established women as yourself that it is possible if you approach the lifestyle change in the right way and have the right attitude and you have the right goals in mind, which you're a testament to. So thank you for sharing your story. And just before we go, just a brief moment to tell viewers where to find you. You mentioned LinkedIn.
Yes. I'm over on LinkedIn, or you can find me at Superbrand Publishing. And I believe in February, you'll also be able to find us at our new site, Author Traffic School. And that site is all about platform building. So lots of courses there to find out how to do it if you don't know how to do it already.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. And of course, look for TV Guestpert Jackie Jordan on social media and on her website as well. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you for the example you set for young women too.